So did you ever go to Rumspringa?
Ich kann nicht Deutsch sprechen. Was in der Herde?
What does that mean? And sometimes I've kind of grumbled about it. Does your grandma ride in a buggy still? So gestern Maya, binihnaska essa. Been thinking about a chocolate croissant. Do you ever cut your hair? Time has definitely changed some things.
My face.
Yeah.
Shout out to my buddy Austin.
Goes off the rails anymore than this. Hey y'all, welcome back. I am doing another Q&A. I guess I'll call this part 2 or a follow-up to the Q&A I did a couple weeks ago. A lot of you seem to enjoy that, and I found that I got more questions in the Q&A video, and also there were still questions in the post I had done before that one that I figured I might as well try and answer. And if you're new, my name is Lynette. Welcome. I am a Mennonite mom living in Sarasota, Florida. I am a Bible-believing Christian, first of all, and I'm a wife and a mom to 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. They're 11, 10, 5, and almost 3. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. I would love that. Red Ruby Slippers says, hi, do you have any family from Lancaster, PA? Not that I am aware of. Like, I know people from there. For instance, Megan Fox, Unlocked, the channel on YouTube. She's a good friend of mine. And we know multiple other people there as well, but not really family. We're pretty much Ohio-based. She asks, also, did you ever go to Rumspringa? No, I did not. I don't think I covered that in my last video. And if you're here wanting to learn more about Amish and Mennonites, go watch the video I did prior to this. That is mostly in your old order settings of Amish. I grew up Amish, I think until I was 13 or so, and we were the new order Amish, so we never did participate in the Rumspringa, which is, I'm trying to figure out how to explain that. I guess it's basically a thing where a lot of teenagers will go explore what the world has to offer, but that's just something that I guess a lot of old order settings do. They have their reasons for it, and a lot of times they will then join the Amish church again, maybe get married, join the church, get baptized. Not all old order Amish youth do that. Dad actually grew up old order Amish, and he would have driven a car, but he wasn't into like all the partying and things like that. He didn't really want to throw us all in the same box, or don't throw all the old order into the same box, because there's a lot of variety. Someone asked, Bruderhof community? No, I think they're another, someone answers the question for me. They are another Anabaptist group. I think that's kind of the case. I really don't know much of anything about that style. Why not learn real German? I guess because I don't really see the need for it. I don't know who I would speak it to. I do know one German couple, but they speak English, and we can kind of communicate with my Pennsylvania Dutch that I have, that I know, and so I don't really have a desire to learn German on top of what I know, just because it's not something I have to use, I guess, and I don't know if I have the energy to put into learning a new language right now. Like, I can read a little bit of like High German because of what we were taught while Amish and stuff, so I can read a little bit, and I could kind of maybe get the gist of some stuff. I just don't speak true German, in other words. Here's one that is spoken in German. It says, ein sehr informatives Video, auch über den konfessionellen Unterschied hat mir sehr gut gefallen, wie alle deine Videos. Liebe Grüße aus Süddeutschland. I'm sure I butchered some of those words. As a very informative video, also about the denominational difference. I really liked it, like all of your videos. Kind regards from Southern Germany. But you can tell I still understand some of it, and I have some of that background, I guess. So why is it called Pennsylvania Dutch? I'm a Dutch American. It sounds more like Swiss German. We call ourselves Anabaptists, but our descendants are from Switzerland and parts of Germany, even a small portion of France. So we do have the Swiss background. So my parents do tours over to Europe, like Switzerland, Germany. They focus on, it's usually mostly Anabaptist people that go along, because that's kind of the focus of the tours. They also have gone to Israel in the past. My grandparents started it way back, and my parents are continuing this. And they have friends over there in our direct areas from where most of like my descendants come from, but it is more of a Swiss German dialect. I don't know where the Pennsylvania Dutch phrase came from. I should probably do some more research. We do have a lot of English words mixed in. So gestern Maya bin ich naska essa mit some friends for Apple's birthday. Und nu bin ich heimgekommen, hab ein bunch Haas Avid gedoe, hab bisschen Stoff gedoe in der Garde, you know, some butzes gedoe here and there. So basically, I was just saying that yesterday morning, I went out to breakfast with some friends for someone's birthday, and then I came home, did a lot of housework, worked in the garden a little bit, and did some cooking, cleaning, things like that. So that just gives you a bit of a picture. You probably picked up a couple of English words in there. Someone says, "Where's your head covering?" So it's right here. It's a black one. I generally wear black. I have worn white. It's just a preference to me. As far as what kind, sometimes I wear different types. Doesn't really matter. And someone else had asked, what is the difference between like the white or maybe some, if you're wondering, like there's a cap style covering. Those are kind of, when I was talking about the whole denomination thing among the Amish and Mennonites, where there's different sects of maybe levels of conservatism, that type of thing. This would kind of fall into that. So there's certain types of head coverings and certain types of veils that would be associated with certain different types of groups. And also it comes down to what, you know, some churches might just be more like based on whatever their personal conviction is about a head covering. So, you know, that's kind of the main thing. There's just differences in church styles and what types of churches they are. I was told after the girls get baptized, they wear them. Is that true? So they were asking about when my girls were going to start wearing one. And I had said, I'm not sure yet. So some churches, they would do that. After the girls get baptized, that's when they would wear coverings. I grew up wearing a covering as a little girl. And so I didn't get baptized till I was, I think, 15, 16 maybe, something like that. So then I was, you know, used to wearing it already. So in some cases, that's how they grow up. Here's a question. Did Nick's parents become Amish after he was grown, or did he just never join as a member? Just curious. Nick's parents were Amish up until actually a little bit before Nick was born. So that's my husband, if you're wondering. So he just missed that. So they would have grown up Amish, same as like my parents and I did. And so after that, they joined the Mennonites. Another question, do you ever cut your hair? Is that something your church decides? Likewise for the girls. That really probably varies from person to person. And I've like trimmed mine, definitely cut them a little bit just because mine are really thin and they were very long. They were down to like my knees at one point when I was a teenager, but they're very thin. And so, like, I've trimmed them. I think it's healthy for growth and stuff, but I don't really do anything with them. I just put them up every day. So some probably do. It just really depends. Likewise for the girls. Yeah, like I've trimmed Oakland's because hers are fairly curly and like, I don't want them to become like out of control type of thing. But as a general rule, I don't go get my hair done or cut or whatever. You go to the beach, but are you allowed to wear a bathing suit and swim? That I'm probably not going to discuss too much at length. I mean, I try to wear something that is modest, in my opinion. And yes, we can swim and all of that. But that will vary from person to person and personal convictions and things like that. So, do you fellowship with Christians that are not Mennonite? I feel like I answered that question. But yes, we definitely do. Does your grandma ride in a buggy still? She would. I think they got rid of their horse and buggy probably in the last 5 years because Grandpa was not able to actually physically even get up in one because of his Parkinson's and everything. And so they ended up selling it because it would have just not gotten used at all. And obviously my grandpa passed away this last December. So she generally gets around with either my aunt or my uncle will drive her places, or she has a golf cart up there that she rides around in, things like that. Okay, stick with me for a minute. I have been thinking about a chocolate croissant for a while. I got a wild grain box like a week ago or so, and I've been wanting to bake their croissants to eat. And I thought, well, since I'm having a chit chat video anyway, I might as well make one and make some coffee. And if you know anything about croissants, they're pretty tricky to make. So I've never attempted making one myself. But Wild Grain is sponsoring today's video. and I will leave all of the information in the description box. If you've never heard of Wild Grain before, they are the first ever bake from frozen subscription box for all things like sourdough, artisanal pastries. They even have pastas, they've got cookies, sourdough loaves, just all kinds of amazing, delightful baked goods, including crescent rolls and lots of different items that I've not even tried yet. But the things that I have tried have been amazing. There might be some of you who don't have the time to, learn how to bake some of these things, or maybe you're in a busy season of life, but you still want healthier options. Their products are also much healthier than your typical store-bought items. So Wild Grain partners with small bakers and pasta makers across the United States. These items bake from frozen in 25 minutes or less. So you can build your own box, and Wild Grain is constantly adding new seasonal and limited time special items for you to try. One membership also equals 4 meals donated. So for every new member, Wild Grain donates 4 meals to the Greater Boston Food Bank. Be sure to click on the link in my description box and use my code Lynette Yoder to get $30 off your first box, plus you'll get free croissants in every box. Got my croissant and also my coffee, and I'm gonna do what my dad always has done, is set his coffee on the arm of the chair or the couch if there is an arm. Look at those flaky layers. Oh, they're so good. This makes me go back to last summer when we went to Colorado. My husband and I and my brother-in-law and his wife went out to Colorado, and we kind of went different areas, but the highlight for me was seeing Vail, Colorado. This was in the summer. It honestly reminded me of Switzerland, Germany, places like that. Felt like we were in Europe somewhere. And we stopped at this little pastry shop, and I had the best chocolate croissant I've ever had. I still think about it to this day. And honestly, this is very, very much rivaling that. You could probably convince me that it's from there. That's how good it is. I should probably just order a box with just croissants, So good. So, again, I'll leave my information in the description box, and you can go check out Wild Grain for yourself. And hopefully, if you try them, you will love them as much as I do. Okay, back to more questions. Hi, Lynette. How do you not stress out? I mean, you seem to be calm and laid back, cool. How do you do it? Any tips or suggestions? Have a blessed day. I think if you would ask my family, they would tell you that I am by far not always cool and collected. One thing I've been curious about is photographs, videos of your Amish family members. I was under the impression that the Amish had convictions against such things. Was I given wrong information, or is it only certain Amish that are opposed to being photographed? So yes, that is going to be something that varies from person to person and from church to church. So I grew up, we didn't have cameras, real cameras growing up, but we might have occasionally had disposable cameras back in the day in the 90s, and we have many relatives who took pictures, videos. We were not necessarily opposed to it. It was just part of our Amish culture. And there are definitely some strict sects that would be probably very opposed to it. So I would try to be careful where I'm filming, and I wouldn't just try to be in anyone's face when I'm filming. For instance, down here in Pinecraft, I try to be conscious of that. I'm guessing the majority of them are okay with it, while they might not own stuff themselves. Time has definitely changed some things. All that to say, put a disclaimer out again that it's not everyone is like that. So there may be people close to you or wherever that would be very strict on that. So this is in regards to talking about children in church and things like that. And we're very pro having your children in church, by the way. But she said, my biggest advice about church and little ones is to sit in the front. I feel like it's such a mistake that parents sit in the back because the children can't even see what's going on, and they also don't feel they have to behave. She's talking about the children. Trust me, I raised 3 sons, and we always sat in the very front row, and it humbled them. She had a laughing, crying emoji. And I had to laugh because my husband would be very much in agreement for slightly different reasons, but nonetheless, he is often song leader at our church. We do the typical Mennonite style churches where we just sing a cappella style singing. So he's up there, directing songs and singing. If everyone is crowded to the back and there's just very few people in the front, especially if you have a big church house and it's maybe not full. It's the singing does not go, it doesn't sound good, it's hard to get everyone together. And so we often sit pretty far up to the front, and sometimes I've kind of grumbled about it, I'll be honest, because it does feel like, oh, everyone can see us and they can see when our kids act up and everything. But I do see his point. He just really appreciates if, the congregation sits to the front of the church house. So if you've never sat in the front of the church house, try it sometime. Maybe you'll find a different perspective out of it. And I mean, definitely is a difference whether you're sitting in the front or if you're sitting in the back with all the distractions and all of that. You can definitely not see as much if you're in the front. So that can be good. Anyway, I just thought that was an interesting comment I thought I would put in there. Another question, will your children stop their education at 8th grade, or are they allowed to go on to finish high school in the Christian school they are in? And I think I covered this already, but yes, they have high school at the Christian school they're in. Planning to send them through high school at this point, and after that, I guess we'll just have to see. Oakland is 5, and she'll be attending kindergarten this year. Did some preschool with her here at home, and I would say she's doing very, very well as far as for her age. We don't have the preschool option at our own school, so I would have had to look outside of that, and it's usually just like half days. And with our schedules, we just decided it's too much. And so she's just doing some things here at home, and I think she's doing just fine. Someone asked, do you know Mary Yoder from White Cottage Company? I know her, but I don't know her in person. I've never met her in real life, and we're not related. I often get that question. I mean, we might be, if we trace it back, probably, because she's from, Ohio as well. But I don't know her as such, in other words. She's a very sweet lady. Go check out her channel. Coming to Florida in April for Easter holidays with family. We'll be in the Orlando area, and I'd love to hear your best recommendations of places to visit. We all love coffee and shopping. Unfortunately, I can't help you in the Orlando area. I have really spent very, very little time, if any, there, actually. So, I mean, if you want to come to Sarasota, I would probably have some recommendations. Do you read Beverly Lewis books? She is the one that started my love of Amish. So yes, I've definitely read Beverly Lewis books in the past, but I haven't read any in a very, very long time, I will say that. And I always did have to smile a little bit because it's definitely not always accurate. I'll put it that way. But some things are relatively accurate and then other things are not as much, but I can see why you enjoy them. What color green paint is on your bedroom walls? So right here, this is Pewter Green by Sherwin-Williams. Have you tried the Norwex dishwasher powder? I love it. I haven't, actually. I've tried, or I have some of their Norwex cloths, and I have, I think, the microfiber cleaning powder that someone sent me, but I've never tried any of the other products. I don't really buy their products ever. We have Holdeman Mennonites around our area. Is that some that you are familiar with, or all Mennonites the same? Yes, I am familiar with Holdeman Mennonites. That I actually worked with a girl back when I worked at Der Dutchman restaurant in Waynesville, Ohio. And there is a smaller church here in Sarasota as well. Do the children have non-Mennonite friends as best friends? Yes, I would say so. They do. How did you become a home stager? Well, I'm not really a home stager at present. Technically, I didn't go to school for it or anything. Basically, I enjoy decorating, designing, and I kind of got into that just with our own house. And then we did a flip house a couple years ago where we were in charge of the renovation process, and I really wanted to stage that house to sell it for the most value. And so we did that, and at that point I had collected quite a lot of furniture because that was all on me. We bought that stuff with our own money. And there's also a few companies that I would have partnered with, and I did it minimally, but in other words, I had quite a stash of things. And my goal with that was that since Nick is a real estate agent, I could potentially stage some homes he got into, or maybe it was something that I could pursue alongside my occasional job I did for clients. I did some more design work for people. It just kind of happened word of mouth. I furnished some Airbnbs, things like that. And so I thought that this could kind of go along with it and kind of collect the things as we could. And we leased a building for a year and a half or more maybe. But it finally came to the point where even in the market, it wasn't staging wasn't necessary to sell houses, yet we were paying every month for the lease and stuff, and I wasn't using it as much as I hoped I would. What you got? Okay. So, it just kind of happened, I guess. It wasn't something I planned to do, and maybe down the road I'll do it again, I don't know. But at this point, I sold most of my things, kept a few things that I'm still using in our house now, and that's kind of where it went. So I thought I'd end the video by giving a few Pennsylvania Dutch phrases, if you feel like learning them. This is a very common phrase, wie bist du? Anyone can learn that, wie bist du? It means, how are you? And then you could say, ich bin gut. That means technically if you translate it, it would mean, I am good. So that's probably not proper English. That's kind of how it works. Sometimes when you translate it directly, it doesn't make any sense. So you kind of have to use other words. But in other words, I am doing well, or that's the meaning of ich bin gut. Ich bin alright would be I am all right, that type of thing. Okay, so what else could I say? Wo bist du an Anage? So, wo bist du an Anage? Where are you going? Ich soll zu die Stadt gehen. I am going to town. Ich gleich der Rock. That means I like your dress. If you would use the true Pennsylvania Dutch thank you, you would say dankie. Now, I never say that. We are two Holmes County, Ohio Amish. Pennsylvania people would use that phrase a lot more when you say dankie. But that's truly the thank you. I would just say thank you. So there's some things that we kind of mix in a lot of English with. Sis en channel dog dras. That basically means it's a nice day outside. What are you going to say? Jackson's going to say something.
Ich kann nicht Dutch schwätzen. And it means I cannot speak Dutch.
So he can say a couple phrases in Dutch. They don't really talk much of it.
Was in der Herde? Was bist du du?
I don't know what heady means. What does that mean?
Herde.
What in the hairy?
Hairy is my way of saying it means hairy.
Boss in the
What a
bed.
legend. Shout out to my buddy Austin. Just sending me a random gift.
They might like to see the face, actually.
Oh, my face?
Yeah.
It's a happy one right now.
His buddy Austin from Ohio just randomly sends him a watch.
He's a good friend. He always has a lot of watches, and I harass him about giving me one, so he finally gave me one.
Wow.
I
You
have
made
one.
his weekend, I'm sure.
I have another one.
You have another one. You need a haircut, bud.
Du bist dumm. And it means
Of course, that's all the stuff they learn in Dutch.
That is not kind.
So I'll give you a schmat.
du bist schmat.
Yeah.
He said, you are dumb. See, of course they have to learn the stuff that you should not say. So Nick told him to say, you are smart, du bist schmat. Anyway, I think I'm going to end my video before it goes off the rails any more than this.
Gookadoo.
Goot-gadoo, goot-gadoo. That would mean you've done
Good job,
well
good
or
job.
good job or something like that. So I'm sure they're confused completely by now. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed part 2 of the Q&A. And if you're new, hit the subscribe button. I'd love that. See you next time. Woo! Bye!